Welcome all, welcome all. We're doing another quick minisode. We're talking about Matchbox Pictures. That's right. They've developed so many different NBC and Aussie productions and documentaries. We're talking about their NBC produced show, La Brea, set around a massive sinkhole in LA that basically just opens up giant, just you know, deconstructed place, filmed in Australia. This just shows just a bunch of just visions and hallucinations and other just primeval creatures and just other just like almost kind of at Atlantis level. It's just like these are societies that should not exist and they're underneath this earth. And before you can say San Andreas, this is like it just goes into disaster movie territory. I can't take my eyes off the screen anytime I watch an episode. The production values are kind of similar to other kind of post-Lost type TV shows like Revolution and Flash Forward and this other sorts of mayhem. It's competently acted. It stars Natalie Zia, who you might know from shows like The Detour, White Famous, The Shield, Dirty Sexy Money, but you definitely especially know her for The Following, Under the Dome, The Unicorn, and most notably Justified. That's right, Winona. Always a competent, beautiful actress, but it also has Chico Okinawa, who's a British actor who's been in shows like New Tricks, Paradox, and Being Mary Jane. John Cena from Homicide: Life on the Street, Chicago PD, Spielberg's The Pacific, as well as playing the boyfriend in the movie Selena, as well as Bad Boys 2. Another capable actor. Nicholas Gonzalez is another one. You might know him from Resurrection Boulevard, The Good Doctor, and movies like SWAT Firefight, The Purge Anarchy, Behind Enemy Lines 2, Dirty, Anacondas 2, Spun. You've seen him. You've seen this motherfucker. He's guest starred on just about every other TV show from The Closer, Melrose Place, CSI Miami, True Blood, Ugly Betty, SVU, Pretty Little Liars, and more recently Narcos. But that's okay. We can't get into all that shit. We got to get into this show. So you've seen all these actors. They've been in everything. They've been competent. They've always, brought it. Now, unfortunately, it's a little too fucking cheesy for my taste. I think a better version of this is Primeval, which you might remember as that one dinosaur show that was on, it was a British show that often aired reruns on Sci-Fi Channel and PBS. That had a little more appeal for those looking for a Doctor Who meets Jurassic Park kind of modus operandi. Even Terra Nova, which had a troubled production where various showrunners kept joining and quitting the show, and they had to try and make ends meet, and it was taking its sweet time to kind of develop everything. And despite not having great CGI, I thought that show did this premise way better. So this isn't doing too hot with critics. It just shitty average rating of 4.5 out of 10 and 29 from critics themselves. So I'm gonna half agree, half disagree. The consensus says there's a method to its madness, and it simply doesn't commit to its insane premise hard enough to stake out a show worth watching, at least not yet. Metacritic gave it an average score for a 9 out of 100. That's the mixed average rating. I'm going to say, sci-fi.radio wrote, everything I hate in network television science fiction, noting the scientific improbabilities. The Guardian noted it as being gloriously, brazenly bad. It's pretty... while the Globe and Mail wrote it's so wretchedly bad, it's gripping in its awfulness. Man, fucking hard pass it sounded. Anyway, Yeah, no, I find it very watchable. My issue is it's trying to do too fucking much. And the more complex it gets, the more I lose interest. Yet there's enough shit happening. I can't look away from the screen. I think it could get potentially better. The production value, once again, like I say, is kind of like some of those various other kind of Land of the Lost, Twilight Zone type shows like Timeless and what have you. So the budget is there. And even when the CGI isn't 100%, it's reasonable enough compared to other shows. But unfortunately, it's just too many characters, too much happening. And honestly, I think enough people are just blown away by how what the fuck it is. They just can't look away. It really is that kind of a show. If they want to do this better, they either got to get really, really fucking trashy or they got to get really, really fucking good. The score by James S. Levine, who you might know from his work on shows like The Closer and movies like Otis and even other shows like The Last Ship and The Blacklist. He does what he's supposed to do, but unfortunately, it's just needs a little. Again, it just needs a little to gel more. It needs to truly just break into, just maybe just push the bar, raise it, maybe just kill half the cast and then just go into survival mode. Hell, just with all the shit they've been going crazy with, introduce some leprechauns and zombies. Get out of the primeval stuff after a while. That being said, I don't. A show like this was going to be made one way or the other eventually, so it just so happened to be tonight. But I think the futuristic shit, where it's just like a de-extinction program, whatever the fuck that is, run by people from the year 2076. That's what's just really fucking with people. It's just too fucking weird for its own good. That being said, I gotta half disagree. The show is totally blowing its load. It's trying to do whatever it wants. It is totally committed to its insane premise. That being said, I don't know what it could really do better, really, other than what I've just said so far. If it really, really just wants to flesh it out, they gotta just be focusing on just, whatever else they can do to shake it up. But that being said, it's a mild curiosity. It's on streaming. I personally recorded it off cable TV because after the first season was on Hulu, but due to the Peacock wanting to be the only way you can see most of the NBC programming, it is not worth the rental money if you're going to just sign up for Peacock just for that. If you're going to do Peacock, you better just be doing it for all the other shows you really want to see, like SVU or The Office. Yeah, I don't personally recommend it. Just fucking tape it off cable TV or watch it at a friend's house and guffaw. But that being said, it's still way better than so many other trashy shows that I don't know why they're fucking on TV. That being said, again, it could have been done way better. There's potential to grow, or at worst, it'll just become a drinking game. But don't get worried, it is not CSI Miami or Walker Texas Rangers level of stupidity. It's just more just a flawed concept that is really going to only appeal to sci-fi completists. I wouldn't mind if it added a fantasy or horror undertone or even Lord of the Rings battles at this point. But it's really got to just really try something different at this point. I know it's filmed in, again, Melbourne, Australia, and it looks it, but it needs to really focus because it's losing track of what it really wants to do. So kudos to having a cool female lead as well as a pretty diverse minority cast, but shame on them for not really knowing what they want to do with all this money and time at their space, at their hands. So better work on it, guys. Interesting to note, directors for it include Greg McLean, who you might know for his work on the Wolf Creek films, Thor Fudenthal, I think is how it's known, is known for Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Percy Jackson and a bunch of other guys, but that's just it. It changes every episode. So if they might just want to just narrow it down, and fortunately the seasons are very short, but I don't know, man. I think they got to really think long and hard on where they want to go with this if they want anyone to keep fucking watching, because who has time half the time? Other than that, I've already warned you. You guys make up your own fucking mind. I think it's only a casual look, but it's not a must-see. But it is also not as bad as it's been made out to be. There's far worse shit. There's far more overrated shows, for that matter. But it is a flawed product, and it needs some serious fleshing out if they want to really leave a mark of any kind.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
We're on all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up review show.